Humans of the cardboard, welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. Today, we need to talk about Duelist Nexus. There are 12 days left until this set is straight up out in the OCG, and there's 33 cards unrevealed. So, in the next week and a half-ish time, we're going to get 33 new cards revealed. But here's the thing. I came out a couple months ago and made a video talking about Duelist Nexus and how I thought there was huge potential for this set because of the way it was set up, because of what we've seen in the past. When we start a new series in Yu-Gi-Oh! Stuff like Rise of the Duelist, we got Dogmatica, we got Infernoble Knight, like immediately meta-relevant decks. As well as a couple of multiple really good generic cards. I believe that set also had like Droplets, Triple Tactics Talents, stuff like that. I think there was another good spell card in there as well, but I can't remember. But just like big bomb cards and archetypes that really felt like it turned over a new leaf, a new era in Yu-Gi-Oh! Not only that, but I believe that was also the third set of the year. Last year, Power of the Elements was the third set of the year, by far the most impactful core set of that year. And I believe the year before the third set of the year was the most impactful one as well, which brings me to Duelist Nexus. This lines up perfectly, right? It should be the first, the first set in a new series. Great. Want to turn over a new leaf. Have a lot of really cool new stuff that's going to lean us into a new metagame. On top of also, being the third set of the year, which tends to be the slot, I think, financially, that Konami wants to have the best set of the year on. So I don't know. It's just not been that impressive so far. I'm really not impressed. Going through the stuff that we already have in the set, just skimming through real quick. What am I impressed with? I really like Revolution Synchron, but that's really the only card from the new Synchron support that I actually think is good. Everything else just kind of meh. Just meh. And I only like this card because it's going to be generically applicable to a couple of other decks. So, yeah. From there, the Dino support, just meh to me. Like, okay extenders, an okay double evolution, a new pill card that's just like super, super punishable, which I don't love. We get a new monodome extender, which is fine, but not, to me, like, particularly exactly what they needed. But it's good. It's fine for them. The other Visa stuff was, like, almost unimpressive, except for the Synchro, which we'll talk about in a sec. The Infernal support was good. I will say, there's not nothing here. But I just felt like since we're almost 50 cards into these reveals, I feel like there's not as much as there should be for what I assumed was going to be the best core set of the year. Infernobles are solid. I think they could be a legit meta contender post this support. The Nemorelli support was underwhelming to me. I thought they had a great setup and they just needed a legit payoff, and I felt like the payoff they got was kind of underwhelming. Evil Tiles, cool for them. Not relevant for our purposes competitively, so I'm not worried about it. Unchained. This support was cool. This is another one where like Unchained could go back to being either a high-end rogue deck or maybe even like a borderline competitive like meta deck. I don't know, probably closer to the rogue status, but like high-end rogue is relevant for the metagame. It just is. This new card is fine, but it's not, it's not everything they needed. Like Drytron already has a million extenders, so like they didn't really need this. So I'm not so sure how good this is actually going to be for them, but it's fine. It's a good card. Festivals and Behemoth of King of All Wars, not relevant at all. The new Runic card is relevant because I do think we could easily see a ban list, one or two ban lists between now and when this set drops. And when that happens, I would almost expect there to be some Runic hit at some point. I don't know if they go after Tip. I don't know if they go after Huggin. I don't know if they go after Fountain. Whatever they do, the engine will survive in some way or fashion because any of the quick play spells can just be generically plopped into any deck. And this card gives awesome utility to any of those cards. Extra utility, for sure. So I expect this card to actually be very nice. Magnum's a nice generic fusion card, but I'm not sure how truly good it is. These cards are skippable. The Visa Synchro is good. This card could turn a deck into a crazy deck, but I'm not exactly sure how it's going to come out. Underwhelming. The new Gaia Synchro is underwhelming. The new Kratos card is underwhelming. Charlemagne, Unchained Soul, more of that Synchro stuff. More dinosaur stuff. More of the Visas cards that were just underwhelming to me. Corrupted Eye of Rebellion. Underwhelming removal spell. Just worse than a bunch of removal spells we already have. Egomorph is a battle trap. This is the draw card for level 10 decks. This card is kind of interesting, but not high level interesting for like what we're looking for here. And then the traps, mostly underwhelming stuff. A Valence trap that wasn't even that good. A new trap hole that's not better than most of the trap holes we have. It underwhelming. I mean, you can probably just tell, like just in terms of the math of it, looking at how many cards we have. What do I like? Like 15 cards in the set total. That includes all the Infernoble cards, all the Unchained cards, and then the single cards that I liked. 15 out of 47 is like so low. So listen, we still have a lot to go. Like I said, 33 more cards to go. That's a lot. A lot of work can be done there to kind of pull this thing out of the fire, especially if it's strong. Here's what I'm expecting. This stuff here, I'm expecting this to just be a new archetype. Whatever it is, I'm expecting it to be the first new archetype of like a new lore set, right? We went through Dogmatica and Albaz. We just went through Visas, and it looks like they're finishing up Visas in this set, which means they should probably start the next series of lore and all that stuff. Hopefully they'll start strong there. So I'm expecting this to be at least 1 or 2 new archetypes, or a new archetype and then a new, support card for another, legacy deck, something like that. This is all obviously going to be an archetypal support. We think that we should be getting, that we are set up to be getting new Altergeist support. That's another one I would put on the back of your mind, is Altergeist is one of those decks that, like, yes, right now it's not great, but if you're telling me it's going to get multiple support cards, I would say, okay, if they're good, Altergeist could be right back in this thing. They do have a nice setup. They've not been super power crept out of the game for very long. I don't think it'll take a ton to get them back in this thing. And then this should be one more archetypal support card. No idea what it could be, but, hopefully it's good. This is your generic monsters. It's important to note, we got, like, Ringo Worm in the last set in these slots, so you could easily end up with 1 or 2 monsters that are, like, actually, like, kind of wild here. So keep an eye on that. We have a new Exceed monster slid in here. A new Exceed or Link monster slid in here. Okay, cool. My guess is that the new archetype would be a Link monster for the new archetype that we don't have revealed yet. That would be my guess. We have a spell slot, a high-end spell slot for maybe the newer archetype again. Archetypal support in a spell form. A couple maybe generic spells. Maybe there's something powerful here. I mean, we got Triple Tactics Tasking in the last set. Stuff that's maybe something like that here. It doesn't feel like we have a single high-end generic card like that in this set yet. And then you have some trap stuff. Maybe a couple archetypal cards here, and then 2 generic ones down at the bottom. So we've got a lot of room, but not a ton of room, right? Like, if only half of this is good, we're kind of going to be like, if they whiff on the new archetype, we're going to be like, yikes. It doesn't even matter how good of a generic card you put in here. This set may be doomed. They kind of need to make this new archetype good. It doesn't have to be game warping. It doesn't have to be the next tier limit that runs the game by itself, tier 0. But it needs to be solid, at least like a deck that you're like, oh, that could be in the mix. That's all we're looking for here. And then from there, a couple of other nice support cards, maybe a generic card here or there that is going to be desirable for a lot of players. And we could be right back in this thing and in making this set very desirable. But it's still a very exciting time, because a week and a half is not a lot of time, and 33 cards is a lot of cards. So lot coming very quickly. I will obviously keep you updated on all of that stuff, guys. So subscribe if you haven't and you want to stay up to date on any of the stuff that drops. I will make news videos, reviews on any of those cards that drop, hopefully. And hopefully it turns out the way we want. But other than that, I'm out of here. Thank you so much for watching, as always. Stay tuned for more stuff. I will see you in the next video. Peace.